All right, everybody, here we go. Take a break from what you were doing and watch me talk. We're going to do notes on two sections today, 9.5 and 9.6. And then Friday, we're going to learn our last unit, last section for Unit 9, and we'll practice and review. And then, I don't know, we might have the test next Wednesday. It just occurred to me right now. You saw it happen. You learned how to write classes 4 months ago. So yeah, maybe we'll have the test next Friday. What happens if I could ask you all to be quiet. I need you all to be quiet. Thank you. Here's something. Like there's only so many of these things I can create. And when you get to do one and you do it and you get help doing it and then you put it behind you, like, all right, I'm ready for the next thing. And here's the thing. What if you just open this warm up again tomorrow, not the one that's finished, but the blank one, and then try to do it again? See, that would be good. If you were one of the people who was like, yeah, I have no idea what's going on here, just do this again tomorrow. Look, it's like 6 lines of code, you know? And so I can't come up with 15 new versions of this. I mean, I could say a blue blah extends a yada yada, and then, and then make you write stuff. But I can't think of interesting ones over and over and over again. I try my best, but and so some of them, I'm just encouraging you. You might want to do some of these over again, especially if you were like, boy, I don't get this yet. And then because it is really easy once you get it, and I understand you got to practice to get it. You could also redo the store assignment from the other day. You're like, oh, I'm having a lot of trouble with this super stuff. Boom, go do the store assignment again. And you already have one that's working. Plus, there's a video where I work it all out. Anyway, just some thoughts. I encourage you to think about what you realize you're not comfortable with and try to practice that. Anyway, new stuff today. Check this out. When you have a hierarchy of classes, you might think you could only do this. Parent P equals new parent, child C equals new child. But you can actually do this. Parent P equals new child. Well, what? Okay, so put into words, you can create a variable, in this case, of type parent, but then you can make it point to a child, a subclass of the parent. Now, why would we want to do this? I will tell you. It allows you to be flexible in your code and allows you to do things like what we did in the store project last class, it was Friday, where we created an array list of product objects. But remember, we had dairy, alcohol, and products in there. Like it probably didn't bother you that happened, but let's check it out. Remember this code here? This was the code that I shipped, that I gave you as the default. But check it out, array list product. Okay, and then it contains 2 actual product objects, a dairy object and an alcohol object. And then this code down here said for product P, the store, system.out.println P. That all works because I set up the array list as something that was going to hold products. And so it can contain anything from under that product in that hierarchy. In our case, dairy, alcohol, and product. If we had set up the array list as a dairy array list, you can't put a product in there and you can't put an alcohol in there. But by putting the parent as the type of the array list, we're golden. They can all be whatever. You could do this with an array or an array list. You could do this with a 2D array. You could do this with a 3D array.
Are there 3D arrays?
There are, but we don't need to know them. Okay. So So as I said, here's an example that won't work. Array list dairy, the store equals new array list dairy, and then we try to add a product object. If you make it a dairy array list, it can only hold dairy. You could this also won't work. You can't take a child, say I'm going to make a dairy, but I'm going to put a product in it. You can't go up. You can't say my dairy object is a product. That won't work. But you can make a product. These bottom two examples, product dy equals new dairy, great, and you could say dairy dy equals new dairy. Both those work. Any questions besides you generically being unhappy with the way this works?
Why dot why?
It's not as bad as it seems. Yes.
Remember the amount of layers going three dimensions backwards compared to so like 2 by 2 would be like 4 and then 4, 8, 12.
Are you doing it right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. Yep.
Another question.
Yes.
So like if you have like the big parent, like at the zoo one, there was like animal and then there was bear and then brown bear. If you had like animal, could you put brown bears in it?
Yeah. Yeah, it can go anywhere down in the any of the subclasses. So for that, you wouldn't say if so. Drake asked about that zoo example we did on the first day of inheritance. You wouldn't say array list of type zoo equals new array list of zoo objects. You might say though array list of animals named zoo equals new array list of animals. And then you could add all the animal types to this thing. It just happens to be called zoo. It could be called Mr. Hayes' backyard. It doesn't matter what you're calling it, but chickens. It's just chickens.
Chicken zoo.
Other questions? We'll look at that in a minute. I got to do this. Next, everybody. 9.6. Here's a scary sounding word, polymorphism. Hang on. Okay. Polymorphism. I'm scaring you every time I say it. Polymorphism. It means having many forms. So in Java, what it means is this happens when we have method overloading or when we're doing method overriding, so that Java decides which actual code to run at runtime, not at compile time. And I'll give you an example. So I made a class called flying thing, and it has a method fly. And when you fly a flying thing, it says flying thing flies, but doesn't say how, because it doesn't say how. Now here's a bird extends flying thing, and when you fly, quote fly, a bird object, it says flies by flapping wings. And when you fly a baseball, there's actually two ways to fly a baseball. One is it flies by being thrown or hit. But then if you also call fly with a piece of text with a string, then it says home run. So here's 4 different fly results with 3 different objects, but they're all part of a hierarchy. So look at this code here. Flying thing A equals new flying thing. Bird B equals new bird. Baseball C equals new baseball. And then I make an array list of flying thing objects. Remember, that's the parent. And then I add the flying thing, the bird, and the baseball. And then I have a extended, enhanced for loop where I'm getting everything out of my array list, which I called airmail. And I'm calling the .fly method on all of the objects. And here's what prints. When it gets to the flying thing, it says it flies, but doesn't say how. When it gets to the bird, it says flaps its wings. And when it gets to the baseball, it says flies by being thrown or hit. So because we created the array list of the parent, we're able to put all these different kinds of objects in. And then the code down below is actually executing different code. This is this polymorphism I didn't have to write an if statement. If this is a ball, then print the ball one, and if this is a bird, then do the bird one. I can just call dot fly because I designed this class, and all the children have a dot fly. Everyone has a fly method, and I'm calling it. But different things are happening that are not locked in when I write the code. Yeah. Uh, I said for flying thing F, and then I said F dot fly. So this line is the for loop grabbing each thing, and then here I'm just flying them one at a time. So we're calling the flying thing method, the bird method, and the top method from the baseball. If you want to explore these ideas more, AP Classroom videos for these sections 9.5 and 9.6 are helpful. Not required though. But if the idea of polymorphism is bumming you out, then check out those videos. It's not that big of a deal. There's not gonna be a problem on the AP exam that says please define polymorphism in your own words. More likely is you would run into multiple choice problems like the ones I think you'll probably be doing on Friday. I don't know if you get any of them on today's part, but all right. So for the rest of today, finish the warm up if you haven't. I'm going to post the cars assignment where we're going to do some cars in a hierarchy, and then I want you to do AP Classroom Unit 9. Multiple choice questions 1 through 10. Don't submit because I think there's 18 altogether. I want you to do 11 through 18 on Friday. You haven't learned all that material yet. So, and then I'm asking you to put your answers in a Google form. The Google form will tell you if you got them right or not. And then you can watch the video for help on any that you missed. Or, assuming we're still here in class, happy to help. But let's also step back. If let's be really clear. Like I said at the start of these notes, if you're somebody who didn't know how to write the warm up today, then maybe after you do the cars assignment in the AP Classroom, if there's a half hour left in class today, redo the warm up. Just open it up again, fork it again, and do it again. You don't have to turn it in again. But I'm encouraging you to take charge of your own destiny here. You don't need to say, well, Mr. Hayes gave us this much stuff today. That's all I have to do, and I'm going to get a 5 on the AP test. If you're struggling with this, if this is like, whoa, I'm not sure how to do this, go back and do the store again. If you have a half hour, if it's 11:15 and you're done with what I assigned, rather than pile it on so that half of you are like freaking out and going home and you don't have a life because you're stressed out about this, I'm trying to not give you a bunch of extra work. On the other hand, if you're like, I really didn't know how to do the store and I did it line by line watching you do it on the video, Mr. Hayes, great. Do it over again when you have some free time today. And I mean during class, dedicate this hour and a half to hard work on this.